All right, it's a beautiful morning one more time, and the program this morning on ITV is on direct here in Benin City. I told you that on our discussion segment this morning, we're going to be looking at the race, the 2023 presidential race, also looking at ways we can begin to think of electing qualitative leaders, because that seems to be the onus. It seems to be the big issue as far as our politics is concerned. Well, with less than 15 months to the presidential election, we have various politicians, various aspirants, coming up to signify their interest to run for the office of the president come the next election. As we speak now, we understand that the Sokoto State Governor is the latest of it all to say that he wants to be the president of the country. Well, there seems to be an argument that has been in the fore very recently. There has been this talk on that the president should come from the northeast, from the northwest, from the south-south, from the southeast, and of course from the north-central. People don't talk about how we can actually think, or how best we can actually elect a quality leader. That seems to be the major issue. Well, that's going to be the focus of our discussion this morning, as we set to look at issues, around the 2023 presidential election. Well, we are so privileged to have Dr. Peter Uwaibi, who is a leadership development expert and also a public affairs analyst, an activist, so to say, a human rights activist. If you recall, sometime before the last presidential election, Dr. Peter Uwaibi came here, and even sometime before the Edo State governorship election, Dr. Peter Uwaibi also came here. So welcome to this program this morning.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And most sincerely, I must extend my condolence on the loss of your mother. It's been on the news recently that you lost your mom.
Oh yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
So we're also expecting Dr. Barrister Osaze Omonuwa. So when he comes, we're going to let him be here so that he can also share light on some of the issues we're going to be talking about today. Now, let's look at those, as a matter of fact, that we have on the fore. Talking about those that are interested, that wants to run as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria come 2023 election. Well, we have Ahmed Bola Tinubu, a two-time governor of Lagos State, a technocrat, and well, I'm not campaigning for these guys. I'm not campaigning for them, but we're just trying to see some of their resume, some of the things that they have. So we have Ahmed Bola Tinubu. That's Ahmed Bola Tinubu. Very big thank you to my PD this morning for doing a nice job. We have Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and let's see the next one. He's interested for the presidential race. Let's see now. We have, let's see. We've got the next person here. We have, let's see, we have David Umahi. We're told that the incumbent governor of Ebonyi State and the chairman of Southeast Governors Forum. That's the picture of David Umahi there. He wants to be the president of the country in 2023. Then also, let's see the next person. We have Atiku Abubakar. He ran for the last presidential election. We're told that Atiku Abubakar, former vice president of Nigeria and a businessman, and also he's set to declare his intention to run for the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Then also too, let's see the next one here. We'll have Yahya Bello. That's the current governor of Kogi State. Yahya Bello is the current governor of Kogi State, so you can see his picture, who is also interested in running for the #1 seat of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He's a young guy. We're told that he's 46 years of age. Since 2021, he has expressed the desire to be the governor, to be the president of Federal Republic of Nigeria. That's since last year. Then also have Pius Ayim Pius, one-time president of the Nigerian Senate. And he has recently declared his intention to run for presidency in 2023. He is from the southeast zone of the country. and he's interested in running for the office of the president. Then let's see too, we have Bukola Saraki. Yes, one-time president of Nigerian Senate too. Yes, that's the picture of Bukola Saraki there. He's from Kogi State. Let's see now. Yes, he's interested. He's interested. Bukola Saraki from Kwara State, I beg your pardon. Yes, Bukola Saraki, he's interested. He wants to be the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Then also to have Aminu Tambuwal. That's a picture of Aminu Tambuwal. That's the current governor of Sokoto State, who is interested to be the president. Former Speaker of the House of Representatives. Yes, also interested to run under the People's Democratic Party. Then we have Bala Mohammed, I beg your pardon. Bala Mohammed is also there, the governor of Bauchi State, under the People's Democratic Party. That's where he wants to run for office of the president. Then let's see more aspirants. We have Orji Kalu. Orji Kalu is also interested, the former governor of Abia State. Yes, he's been interested since January 11th, 2022. That's when he has declared his interest to run for the #1 seat of the president. Then we have Khadija Okunu Lamidi. That's the first female that we seem to be having to be interested to run for the office of the president. Then you can see she's only 38 years of age, an entrepreneur, a CEO of a multinational firm there. Let's see more. We have Dele Momodu. That's a picture of Dele Momodu there. Miriam Mugul. Yes, Otumba. Dele Momodu has also declared interest to run for the office of the president. Then, of course, we have the current vice president. Yeah, Professor. Talking about Professor Yemi Oshibanjo, who is also interested. He's interested to be take the #1 seat. Well, some say that he has really not voiced it out, only that interest parties are kind of telling him that you're wrong, that he should run. Then we have so many of them like that we cannot just get their pictures now. The beauty of it all is that these guys are citizens of this country. And one thing that stands for them is that if you go by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, these guys are qualified in terms of age, in terms of educational background, and of course in terms of so many things they are qualified. I don't want to fault the Constitution, because for me it appears that the Constitution does not give room for us to look at the quality requirements of who would be the president of the country. I don't want to fault the Constitution. Anyway, Doctor, you're welcome one more time.
Thank you very much.
Let's look at this issue one more time. The presidential election is fast approaching.
It does, yes.
And we hear various talks here and there that the president should come from the north, south, from the northeast, from the northwest, from the south, south, from the southeast, and all that. Yes. Now, how important is this, comparing it to the importance of having a quality leader for the next presidential position in our country?
Well, thank you very much. We cannot intermix importance with geographical locations from where the president is going to come from. Nigeria have had a long spell with northern presidents, and the recent one, which is the president from the north, which is President Muhammadu Buhari, a former military dictator who came into power then by the means of a coup, which is a criminal offense in Nigeria. Today is the democratic president of Nigeria, and he has performed abysmally, unwillingly.
Well, Doctor, that may be your own opinion, because some
it's very personal. It's very personal. What I mean is this: you see, you have just asked me about the north and south divide in terms of priority of presentation of a presidential candidate who later metamorphosed to becoming the president of Nigeria. Yeah. So I'm just telling you that the present president has failed very woefully, and is from the north. So the cry and the aspiration of the people that the next president should come from the south can be seen as very laudable. and about over time that we should not have the president from the South. And again, if you look at the structure of the Nigerian political system, we are talking about presidential candidates now, and you talked about by the Constitution they are qualified. But the qualification does not really spell the ability of leadership. You are just qualified by birth, and then by age, and then maybe by education, whether real or fake, but you become qualified. But that is not the in-depth ability to govern. When you are governing, you are in leadership position. You are in the hegemony of the national system. You are in the apex of everything, and the boss, according to Abraham Lincoln, stops in your table. Now, if the boss stops in the table of a non-performer, of somebody who lacks the luster, somebody who lacks capacity, to be able to lead his own home, and you put him there to lead a nation, you are streaming and walking and running towards a disastrous zone. And when you are running towards disaster, there's no recourse that could halt you until you fall over the cliff, or over the cliff. Nobody can stop you. And when you are falling over the cliff, you are carrying the whole nation. You are falling the whole nation over the cliffs. And when you fall inside the cliffs, everything becomes disastrous. And another thing, don't forget that leadership has different categories. And you called a lot of names, Tambuwa, this, that, and this. But what type of leadership are they going to offer? What kind of, is it going to be an authoritative? Is it going to be authoritative leadership? Is it going to be a quality leadership? Is it going to be a leadership of the people? Or is it going to be a leadership of dormants? That is dormant leadership. Sitting down in your house without participating in the problem and solving the problem of the people. So is this going to be an implementational leadership? Are you going to implement new ideas? Are you going to harvest the economy, or are you going to harvest the people's intention? Are you going to harvest, the growth of the nation? So those are what you are going to look at when you are looking for a presidential candidate. Okay. Don't just say he's a Nigerian and he's by birth qualified, and therefore he can come out and say he wants to be a president. We have done all that in the past, and it has not worked for us. That's why Nigeria, as it is today, is where it is, as one of the poorest nations in the world, a beggarly nation, a nation that is into imputinate begging. And how can you come out from this kind of economic quagmire that we have found ourselves in this country?
Okay. Now, Doctor, let's look at our Constitution. It appears that we are beginning to fault our Constitution. Because just like what you said, I also said it a while ago, that if you look at this array of personalities signifying interest, they've not run foul of the Constitution in any way. They are highly qualified by birth, by education, and of course by some other things that people also consider. But the Constitution does not actually spell out the qualification by quality of persons running for presidency in this country. Now, are we going to say that our Constitution is faulty? If that is the case, should we begin to think of how to amend our Constitution even before the next presidential election?
Yeah, that's another populist view. Nigerians have been craving for a new constitution, because this constitution we have now, 1999 constitution as amended, is a constitution that was inherited from the military. It's almost like a degree. The military, they rule, they suspend whenever they come into power. They suspend the constitution, and then of course they rule with a decree. And then this constitution was metamorphosed from a decree into a democratic constitution. And they say, the constitution says, the people of Nigeria came together, to emulate this constitution, to put this constitution in order. But that is far from the truth. We did not come, we Nigerians, maybe you, I don't know, but I and the rest of us did not come together to formulate this constitution. This constitution was just carried through from the decree and made a constitution. So from day one, the constitution is very faulty, and this constitution deserves a clear rejection. The constitution is already obsolete. It's not even meeting with the aspiration of the people. It's not even meeting with the present growth of global interactions, you know. It's devoid, it's deployed, it's not a constitution to say. It's like an autocratic write-up, which the people are following. That's why I see most things are not properly spelled out in that constitution. Very, very faulty constitution.
So if you have to make your recommendations, you recommend that we amend the constitution so that the constitution will specify that candidates should have some qualitative, some quality, so to say, in the regard of before contesting election.
You know, when they talk about constitutional amendments, sometimes it's laughable because you just reject the constitution and come together and create a new constitution. You know, don't amend, you know, when you keep amending an old building, just destroy the building, just like Governor Basaki is doing in Benin now. He's destroying old buildings, not patching them up. Destroy it and put up a new structure, you know, and then follow the pace of growth, global growth. You amend constitution. What do you amend this constitution?
Are you trying to say that we should reject our constitution and then formulate another constitution
it's not a
for a nation that has existed for about 61 years?
You are using the word reject. You know, what you do, discard the constitution, throw it away, and then formulate a new constitution as per the present condition of the people. What do you mean, am I saying they should reject it? No, throw it away. I mean, it's not nice, it's not good. It does not represent the thinking or the aspiration of the people. It's a very selfish constitution. It's very parochial. It serves a few interests. A constitution, a national constitution, which is the grand norm, is supposed to express broadly across board, across the map, the people's interest. Not just a few interests here and there, pocket interests of people, you know, who are extremely selfish, who have no knowledge, who are despicable even in their characteristics. People with capricious ideas that do not come into the truth of perspicacity. You know, you're talking about reality in government. If you want to have a growth, you know, you have to first of all think of your growth. Nigeria is not growing economically. Their GDP, the aspirational GDPs. Oh, if oil becomes $69 per barrel, then we can maybe think, oh, our GDP will grow to 5-something%. But what about as of today? What is your own aim? What are your aspirational growth? What are you thinking? What are your areas of growth? What are you putting into growth? So the government must be translucent. You know, they must be clear. They must be open as per what they want to do for the people and how they want to do it. You don't just say, oh, constitution, no, when it's not working well. No. Okay, you said it earlier on. INEC said, all these, your friends here, your names you have mentioned for presidency, mostly the present government in power, which is the AC government. They are in power right now, and the PDP is the opposition. But the AC, which is the government of the day, they themselves are not translucent. They are megogrammatic. You know, it's a political party that is delusional. Because, you say you're going to have a convention in a few days. That's what the APC said. They're going to have a convention to be able to choose their leadership. But even then, they have not maintained, you know, the constitution of the party, which says, brief INEC, at least 21 days,
to the primaries
before the primaries as required. But as of today, we speak 3 days to the election or whatever. They have not briefed INEC. So INEC cannot tell you categorically that there's going to be a convention, that there's going to be an election of the officers. And then we are talking about these parties in power. If ordinarily they cannot have a system, a procedure by which they can bring in candidates, elected candidates for the presidential position, they are not even able to have a convention. No, that's a party want to bring the leadership.
Yeah, Dr. Waibi,
what kind of character are they going to bring?
You speak like this today. I remember when we had PDP in 16 years in governance, presidency in the country. People also came up just the way you are condemning the APC.
I'm not condemning the APC. I'm just the way you are. I'm observing the APC.
All right. Now, people also came up to also observe the PDP and probably spoke the way you are speaking now.
That's personal.
No, I'm not personal.
What do you mean you are speaking? What do you mean you are speaking?
No, you're expressing your views.
Yeah, which is personal.
Your opinion.
Yes, I have friends in both political parties, but APC has ramped down the country in the last time.
Dr.
I'm
Waibe,
not a politician, I'm not partisan.
I know, Dr. Waibe, my question is, in the 16 years of PDP, we also saw some kind of reactions, just the way you are reacting now against the PDP. Now, what do you think is the issue in our country, in our nation, politically?
The issue is that, first, let me clear that point. PDP is charismatic. They have the charisma, and they have the followership of the people.
Are you speaking this way because that's the party that you support?
No, I'm not supporting any party. As I told you before, I'm not a politician. You said it, you know it, I'm an activist. And by being an activist, that is to mean you are going to challenge the inconsistencies that are accruable from governance.
Are you saying that there are no inconsistencies in the PDP?
No, PDP...
Or that we saw inconsistencies in the 16 years of PDP in presidency.
But PDP was very democratic. PDP was very democratic, and the captains that were steering the ship of the nation then in PDP were men that were very prudent. These are men that you saw their vision. Their vision you could translate into reality. And such visions created growth for the country. Such visions stabilized our economy. Such visions stabilized our international relationship. Such visions stabilized our foreign investment. Such visions stabilized our domestic growth. Such visions. If you don't have a good vision, then you are blurred in your vision. You can't see. And if you cannot see, how can you lead? Look at the present hegemony of our country now. Very old, persons, who cannot even walk without using a walking stick. And for every minute, they are needing a medical attention. And if you are that kind of leadership, who are permanently bedridden, and how can you come out and lead the people? You are concerned about your being able to stay alive, or are you going to lead us into grave? Because you are facing most of our leaders are facing grave. You see a man that can hardly stand. 3 people are holding him here and there, and they say, vote for me, I want to be president. What kind of nation is that? When you have viral, vigorous, strong young men and women, highly educated, with intellectual flexibility, people bubbling, firing out. Just because you as a leader in Nigeria, you have the hammer, every other head becomes a nail. Your head is a nail, my head is a nail. If I say a thing, they nail the head. It's not like that. How can you encourage growth in such a system where everybody's afraid to talk, where everybody's even afraid to do anything? Look at the post-COVID era that the whole world has gone into. Nigeria is still in the pre-COVID era. Nigeria is still in the COVID era. Everybody has vanished away from COVID. Nigeria is still do this. No, it doesn't make sense. If you want to fly into Nigeria, for instance, you have to pay all the monies you don't have. You have to borrow money to be able to achieve COVID tests and everything before you fly to Nigeria. Why? You have turned it into a disastrous business venture. Something that is supposed to be a global pandemic, your own in Nigeria here has now become a business venture. Where's your COVID test? Where is the money you paid for this? Well, it doesn't make sense. And you are telling me to come and talk about such leadership? Such leadership doesn't make sense to me.
Anyway, viewers out there, the program is still this morning on ITV.
And the PDP leadership was democratic.
Yeah, the program is still this morning on ITV, and we are on the race, in finding a qualitative leader for the next presidential election. And of course, we'll have Dr. Peter Waibe with us this morning, who is a leadership development expert and of course an activist. Just like what we said, that he's always here when the time matters most. I told you a while ago that before the last presidential election, I invited him, he came, and of course before the last governorship election in Edo State, he also came. We've seen some of the fellow Nigerians, our brothers, whether we like it or not, they are fellow Nigerians that they have signified interest to run for the office of the president come the next election. Now, Dr. Waibe, let's look at this issue one more time, electing quality leaders.
Yes.
What is exactly the problem? Now, is it that the political parties, they don't have good quality leaders good quality candidates to bring to the fore for the electorate to elect from, or that the electorate themselves, they don't know how to choose the quality leader that they need, or that the candidates that we have across various political parties in our country, they don't just know how to be qualitative. They don't have the quality material, so to say, to really vie for position, for most especially for the highest office in the country. What is exactly the problem, Dr. Waibi?
You know, now we are back to this same talking. This talk means, you see, there's what they call directional leadership. You know, that is when the leadership, you know, directs the people to the right, to the right direction. Then you have transformational leadership. You know, people like Obaseki, the governor of Edo State. You know, I'm from Edo State, so pardon me using it. He transforms. You know, you don't stay stagnant, dormant. And then when they ask you, what have you been able to provide for the people as a leader, you come into such sublimes of ridiculous excuses all over the place. It is because of 20 years ago. It is because of 15 years ago. That is, to me, very ridiculous and anti-growth. But you see, leadership is to be able to steer the people and the nation to growth so that we move with the rest of the world. And the people, and the people and the persons, the citizens of your nation, will come into gainful employment. We come into good security. We come into good health care. We come into better living standards. That is what we are looking for. We are not looking for anything extraordinary. So if you look at the truth of the matter here, the crux of the matter about leadership, we are talking about independable leadership. You know, leadership with good direction and with edge and zeal for transformation. But when you have a leadership who's so contented by just being called Your Excellency, Your Honorable, and then he's there swaggering about the whole place with an empty head without any provision of performance, then that's not leadership. As far as I'm concerned, that is one vessel of failure. Failure from all directions. What is the pass mark? We are not able to provide health for our people, but you as a leader, you are so concerned about your health. You spend thousands of the Nigerian scarce resources to take care of your health. And then you think no other Nigerians need that kind of health. And then you come around to ring the bell, say, please, want to vote for me? Well, I know all the vote you want to get is for yourself. You mentioned some names just now as aspirants, presidential aspirants. All of them have made money by dubious means.
No, you cannot say so.
Well, I cannot say so because because in Nigeria, for instance, let me tell you something. In Nigeria, for instance, if you are making money by way of being prudent, you cannot come and have a bullion van in your house. And you are telling me these are not translucent. You know,
Dr. Waibi, it appears that we have our anti-graft agencies, that are saddled with the responsibility of fishing out corrupt, individuals in the country. Most times when I invite guests here and they try to make allusions to some individuals in the country that they were seen with bullion vans and all that, I tell them, look, that is not your responsibility. You may have seen that individual with a bullion van, but we have the anti-graft agency to actually go after such person to find out, look, if you have a bullion van in your house, where is the source? How did you make this money and all that? So don't you think so?
I think so. Such persons that can have a bullion van in their house are the same persons. They are megalomaniacs who are the ones that even put the members of the anti-graft personnel in position.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Is that the situation we have in Nigeria?
No, it's about influence. You know, if you are obsessed, the Nigerian leadership is so obsessed with self-aggrandization, egocentric to the core. They are not going to let a man who's coming to ask them how they got their fraudulent band to be there, when they can as well make sure he cannot be there. So it is what they say. Look at one of our politicians from the West said, oh, I put all my boys in position. And by the time you put your boys in position, your boys are loyal to you. Now you are saying even, well, let me not diverse too much into, areas that, the same anti-graph to be asking me to come and explain. So let's be platonic in the discussions.
Okay. Now, Dr. YB, you're a leadership development expert, and when it comes to choosing the right leader in our country, I've always seen your participation. You are so concerned about the fact that the right person should be there. Now, as we glide towards the 2023 presidential election, at least I read out the area of aspirants to you a while ago, and they are in the public purview. Let's begin to, because right now you cannot tell XYZ not to run, but the electorate is in a greater position right now, in the sense that the electorate has his PVC. He can actually decide who becomes the next president or not. So how does the electorate now, how does he begins to know that, look, this is the right person, this is the right candidate with the right quality that we need in the apex, in the number one position in this country?
Now, okay, fine. You see, elections are mostly determined by votes. The man that carries the major votes is elected, is the one that's elected. Yeah. And most of the time, these candidates will come and speak with you. And unless you have this form of freedom to be able to analyze what they are telling you, this kind of, let's say, freedom to be able to analyze what they're telling you and to be able to differentiate.
When you say freedom, are you saying that the electorates are not
when I'm saying freedom here,
enough?
I'm talking about financial freedom, educational freedom.
So it takes financial freedom for an electorate to be able to analyze. No,
I'm listening to you.
Because we're actually educating the electorate this morning.
Yes.
So it takes some financial freedom for the electorate to be able to analyze the candidates. In other words, the electorate has to be financially free.
Yes.
Okay, yes. Let's go on.
And that is that is
no, please, Doctor. I don't want you to hold back.
No,
that
strangulates, your mental capacity to be able to have freedom. When you are financially tied up, when you are financially tied in an apron string and you oscillate negatively, you are not able to really express your personal view when you go and make your votes. Or as a matter of fact, to which candidate you prefer to vote for, because you lack financial freedom. This candidate comes, bamboos you with some money, which he himself obtained fakely and falsely, and then you become attached to the apron string of that candidate. You become tied to that candidate. And then, as a matter of fact, somebody, okay, I'm going to vote. I have less than a bus fare in my pocket. But it becomes a citizen's right to go and vote, and I'm going to vote. And because they said, if I vote and I come out, there's somebody there that will give me some enumerations. There's somebody there that will give me some money. Let me use that word. And then, because of the impequenity of oneself in Nigeria here, you are forced to go and vote for such person that is going to give you money. And most of those monies are monies you can just spend for the transportation to the venue, not money that will make any difference to you. As a matter of fact, that money will not even last 3 days. Just like the central bank Minister of Finance is saying they will give 5,000 naira to people. 5,000 naira people. How many days will that one last? Udoji came, did the same thing, gave Udoji award, and then created inflation, and then the bubble burst. Now you are saying you want to give 5,000 naira to people. You want to give that 5,000 naira to people, you will give only about 1 million people. You say it's 40 million people. The rest one will vanish. And this Nigeria, nobody can say a word. Nobody can even talk. Nobody can even challenge anything that is wrong. We just sit down there and look at people who are zombies. I mean, this is 2022. We are no more zombies. For instance, where I'm going to is nearer to where I'm coming from. We have been coming a long way. We knew better Nigeria. We knew worse Nigeria. We know worse Nigeria. We now know an irredeemable Nigeria. You understand? And this is Nigeria for us. Who's going to redeem Nigeria now? Is it you or me or our children or great-grandchildren? But there are some people, very few people, that are ruining the country. And very many people are accepting this ruin unchallenged. Why are we not challenging it? We are so docile. We are not able to challenge nothing. Meanwhile, overseas, you have activists, who are part of, like when we had to make sure that the elections in Edo State was free and fair. We drummed up, we excited the people and said, listen, election in Edo State must be fair and fair. Obaseki was a performing government. There's no going back. And the rest of the international will build their focus on Edo, and then we made sure that it was fair and fair. So if you see them as a nation and you're not talking, then whose fault is it?
Okay. Now, let's look at the recent now. What we see about the Electoral Amendment Bill. As we speak now, the amended bill is before the President, and any moment from now, the President is going to be accenting to that bill. Now, we all know the stories, where we are coming from, as far as that Electoral Amendment Bill is concerned. But when this bill is eventually passed, most especially the clause 84 that talks about the direct, indirect, or the consensus, emergence of candidates, in the political parties. Now, when this bill is eventually passed, there's no doubt it becomes a law, and of course, the political parties will have to work with that law. Can this law, as it were, will it guarantee the quality leaders that we are talking about here, Dr. YB?
The law itself is a shamble, very shambolic.
The bill itself?
The law, whatever, is very shambolic because it's the law that governs the people. The rule of law governs the people. And then it's a bill before it's passed into a law or an act. So, either way, I was not too conversant with it, but it shows another form of twist. I'm twisting. The presidency or the executive, I'm twisting the hands of the legislators. Because if you see what happened earlier on, the legislators, both the lower house and the upper house of the NAS, they had come up with the bill. And the clause, they inserted in the bill, clause 84, which means direct primaries. Yeah,
Dr. Wabi, it's probably because you've not been around. I will let you learn. I know you have so much to talk about.
Not so much to talk about.
Some persons say, because you said that the executive twisted the legislature. Now, some persons feel differently about it. Now, before we got here, before the legislators went for Christmas break, the saying was that, look, when we return, we are going to veto the president's position. In other words, they already knew that the president was not going to assent to the bill, so they said that they were going to overturn, veto the president's position on that. But when they returned, it was a different thing entirely. A lot of people now saw that was this what people went for? So that is the position now, because as we speak now, it is even the legislature, members of the legislature, that now said, okay, they re-amended the bill, that okay, let it be direct, indirect, and consensus, and that's what the president has now. So it is not as if in this case that it is the executive that has, except if you are trying to explain it in another way around, Dr. White.
Okay, let's put it quietly, and maybe I will ask those in power to come down from the high horse so we can discuss at this level. You said it that very soon the president will assent to it.
Yeah.
How do you know?
No, he's going to assent to it.
No, wait. How do you know?
Whether he will assent to it?
Not whether he will assent to it. How do you know he will assent to it? But you just said it. Wait. Because the speculation in the media is rife with the fact that he will assent to it. You know what I told you, that the presidency or executive are twisted, and fettered the members of the National Assembly because the National Assembly had already passed the bill for direct primaries. They passed the bill already.
Yeah.
And they sent it to the president to assent to it. And the president was dilly-ballying and mumbo-jumboing, and
he rejected it. Let's put it that way. So let's put the soft landing now.
Okay, fine. Okay, he rejected it, right? Or not the word rejected. He did not assent to it.
He declined. He rejected.
And then he wrote a letter back to the National Assembly. And in that letter, he made some observations. And those observations were what the National Assembly now committed, to the committee whole for the amendment of the bill to amend the clause 84. Yeah. Subsection 2, that was in the bill that mandated direct primaries to the political parties. Now, you see, this is a 2010 legislative act. And
now 2021.
I'm coming from here. I'm coming from the point. Yeah. This was a 2010 legislative act, which passed through the 7th Assembly unresolved. This electoral thing passed through the 8th Assembly unresolved. Now the 9th Assembly is clamoring to themselves that, they have resolved it. How have you resolved it? You have resolved it in line with the presidential need. You have resolved it in line with the presidential thinking. You have resolved it in line with the presidential muscling. Because if you are taking the bill to the president and he did not assent to it, and you are there vacillating around your place that, you will veto the bill, you will veto the bill. What has not changed your mind from vetoing that bill? And you are not saying, well, for the general Nigeria, because of the scarce economy we have, for democratic reasons, we now say, okay, either primaries, you can go direct, indirect, plus consensus. Those three things have aligned. And don't forget also that the section 52 of the same Electoral Act was dealing with electoral transmission.
Yeah.
Those sections 43, 52, and 63, and 87 were the contentious part of the bill that they have been dealing with since 2010, 7th, 8th, and 9th Assembly, because they thought even the 87, which is now being amended, the 87, the section 87 that was now being amended, which was the clause that they now placed as 84, that it will now be a direct primaries, that the president still said no, you should amend that particular clause again. And the National Assembly has now agreed, re-amended it, passed it through, sent it back, committed it back to the committee hall, and then everybody now says, president we are sent to. How do we now know that the president we are sent to it? Because it's what the president wants. How can what the president wants as one person is what the rest of the Nigerians want as the whole of Nigeria? So where do we go from here, Dr. YB? Again, the influence came from what they call Progressive Governors Forum. Yeah. PGF or something. Yeah. Those ones were already in collusion with National Assembly, because they always have their candidates, and that's why they will never support direct primaries. They have their candidates, so they'll just put their candidates agreed, because they have the power. How can you be a chief executive and you don't have powers? And then when they say consensus candidate, again is under the auspicious drive of, again, the governor. This is not the governor had that. So, Dr. Wabi, in all this analysis now, you said that it appears that the executive twisted the legislature. Not that it appears; it's very obvious. Okay, so where do we go from here now? Where you go from here is to diversify the economy. We are living too much on governmental power. Nigerian revenue is 95% in from crude oil. And government is in charge and in control of crude oil. Therefore, the entire money that's revolving in Nigeria is from crude oil. And if the entire money is revolving from Nigeria from crude oil, and government is in control of that crude oil, and government is in control of the process. Well, the NNPC is more or less a private... We did, because they registered with... Corporate Affairs Commission. No. With the PIB bill, with the Petroleum Industry bill, is no more. Government is really not in charge. Yes, which day? Which day? Meanwhile, who appoints the board of this corporation? The chairman of the commission. Yes, who appoints them? It's not government. and then you say government is not in charge, that would be very
Dr. Waibi, no, are you trying to say that we don't have hope in the country?
No, we have hope. We have hope.
Yeah,
the hope we have is this. You know, you must speak. If you do not speak, you see, during the time of the revolution in Kenya, when they were fighting against this colonial regime. Yes, in Kenya, you know, they called it the revolution, Mau Mau. You know, in school days they used to hear Mau Mau. This is a thing in Kenya. And you know, Kenya is among the third largest economy in Africa. You know, and there was this guy, Ogunki something. He wrote, "Weep not, my child." You understand? Yeah. That is to say, it's so pathetic. You are weeping, you are crying, as a matter of fact, you are wailing. But he said, please, do not wail. Come out and register your protestation. Come out and register your remonstration. There must be a kind of protestation against what you don't like. And that's why those NSAS sons and daughters of ours came out, you know, in modern facilities, and then
the social media,
social media thing, and whipped the government to senses. Then the government panicked, and in panic they started killing their own citizens.
Well, let us not go there. That's not what we are talking about now.
No, well, that's okay.
We don't because that
again, you are part of the system.
Who's that's subject to investigation
to about the truth and the realities of the situation. You understand? But in any case, my thinking, my recommendation is, you know, we should demonetize the influence of money in our election process.
So because how do we do that?
Because when you have, this is what I'm saying, demonetize it. When you have monies, a lot to throw around, you are bound to, it's like an osmotic kind of pressure.
Now, Dr. Waibi, when you say
you are drawn by the influence of money.
Dr. Waibi, it is not peculiar to Nigeria. Even in advanced
okay, now we are discussing Nigeria. We are not discussing.
Yeah, but I know. But we are bound to make comparisons.
Okay, let me hear.
Like where you are from in the UK.
Let me hear you.
No,
I'm not really from the UK. I'm a global.
All right, now, but
I'm a global person.
Yeah, but my point is this. Election in any nation in the world is an expensive venture, most especially when we're talking about presidential election. So when we say that we should demonetize our elections, I think we should be specific because it takes money to print billboards, it takes money to run campaigns, it takes money to run, to get the jingles, the manifestos to the grassroots. You understand?
Yes.
So when we say we should, we are not running a kind of situation whereby candidates don't have money, they can still vie for elections, and we're not doing that. So I think we should also take that into cognizance too, when we try to say that, okay, we should demonetize our elections, Dr. Waibi.
Yes. But the truth is this. Let's look at, you talked about international world.
Yeah.
You know, in the international world, you know, sometimes there was one time election in the United States, and there was this Ross Perot, who was an independent candidate. You know, what happens in an international world election is this. The government will give you a specific sponsorship, you know, in terms of cash liquidity. You know, they will give you that kind of money. And then after that, it is the persons, the people, who will give you money. If they believe in you, they will donate into your campaign funds. Yeah. It's not you that have the money. I mean, for instance, in America, when Obama ran, Obama said he had over $60,000 in his account. He didn't have the money. But me, you, even in Nigeria here, we sent him money. So if we demonetize our elections, and then you know, then we can finance our candidates, and it doesn't have to be really that expensive.
Okay. All right, a very big thank you to Dr. Peter Waibi, a leadership development expert, a human rights activist, and of course, a public affairs analyst. A very big thank you for sparing your time with us this morning on the program this morning on ITV. And we hope that when we call you again, even before the presidential election proper, you will come so that you can educate the electorate one more time on how to elect and elect right. We hope so, Dr. Waibi.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much.
It's been a great time with you.
All right, thank you so much. Now the program is still this morning on ITV, so we'll take a short pause now for other segments to come your way. Please stay tuned.